Yeah, episode 5, I think. Of PPC Presents, talking about, what are we talking about, Joey?
Talking about The Boys, Amazon's The Boys.
Talking about The Boys, because it's the shit.
Mm-hmm.
So Joey's been really excited about this. So Joey, why don't you take the lead, get us going, and I'll chime in, because this was really your passion project.
Yeah. I'd never read the comics before the show was announced, but I watched the first season like everybody else because I didn't think that it was going to be just another superhero thing. But I knew it was going to be like a unique take on it, and that was enough to pique my interest. And It wasn't until this season that it really, I think, took wings, and I think became what I would consider probably the perfect show for our time. It's not a perfect show, but it's the perfect show. It's one of those shows that it's like it couldn't be as good as it is in any other time. It had to come out now for it to
with our generation.
Yeah, the timing is perfect, the context, everything around it. There's no better time for the show to be made.
I mean, it's very unapologetic in terms of in terms of grounding you in what's going on right now sociopolitically, right? Just today, because today I was finishing the last 2 episodes, and remember I was messaging you and I was like, oh my gosh, the commentary here is not subtle. For Stormfront, what does she say? She says, keep America safe again. That's legitimately what she's like preaching at the rally, dude.
Ripped from the headlines. Yeah, they're not pulling their punches, and
not at all. I fucking love it personally.
No, yeah, of course it's great, and it's not the same, because there's truth to the notion that the president or whoever's in power kind of affects the zeitgeist of the country to a weird degree, and a lot of the pop culture that's created is centered around like national mood. This is no different, but it's a more kind of displaced version of that, where you'll have stuff that's really on the nose about like directly directed at Trump, like, God, like, pardon me, sir, like really kind of oddly courteous, ineffectual critique. This is more kind of targeting the culture around it, the cult of personality,
oh my gosh. So now that you say this cult of personality, and this is giving props to The Boys over a show that anyone who's been keeping up with PPC knows that I love American Horror Story. Mm-hmm. And American Horror Story season 6, I think it is, that's cult. And it's basically based on the fear of rhetoric, the cult of personality. It goes hardcore. I mean, it basically starts with Trump getting elected and people flipping out. Like it was, I mean, it was all, I love the season, but it was almost too much. So I very much appreciate the way that The Boys, as you say, did it. It's like a more displaced version of very unapologetic commentary, if that makes sense. Like they did it in a way that didn't make me roll my eyes, didn't make me go, okay, liberals.
Put it down a little bit. Yeah, but no, it eases you into it, because the first season is not that political. It's political
exactly
the same way that Garth Ennis intended it to be political, more of a general critique of like the military-industrial complex and just hero/celebrity worship, which is what most people got at first. Yeah. And then it kind of crept into the more topical stuff that we're seeing in the current season. Because they were delving into just what the superheroes were like, and it was coming on the heels of what we could probably consider the superhero fatigue that I think a lot of people are feeling now that the MCU is mostly wrapped up, now that they did the whole Infinity thing. The DCU still, I mean, it's still kind of.
I was having that conversation with someone the other day. I can't remember who it was, and they were like trying to disagree with me, and I was like, dude, it's not that Marvel and DC are irrelevant, but that obsession has died out, dude. It's plateaued.
Yeah, it feels like it's done. Like
dude. it's
the crescendo,
descended.
the Thanos thing, that was the crescendo, and I think I feel like most
That was
people
the
relate.
climax, dude. It was
Like,
there, and then after that, just
like they were working on like more like Black Panther films and maybe another Thor or something, but I feel like most people probably don't care.
did Black Widow ever come out? Did that happen?
I think it got delayed because of COVID.
Everything got delayed, right? Because Wonder Woman got delayed. Literally everything got delayed. But whatever. The point is that it really has declined. You're right, and it's so perfect that this show came out because we were just talking about how this show is for people who hate superhero shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. You were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, and I think being able to look at it from the lens of that's over. Maybe people have calmed down a bit. We can re-examine, not under the conditions of like the fever pitch that everyone's feeling, where superheroes movies were coming out all the time. The anticipation of it, climaxing with the Infinity War and stuff.
Constant hype, dude. Just it was insane. Uh-oh, your audio cut out, dude. Please hold technical difficulties while Joey resolves his audio issues. In the meantime, I guess he's back, thank God, because I was going to go on a rant about Marvel.
Well, by all means, I was mostly done.
No, it's cool. I would rather you keep talking. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was saying it's good that we're able to examine it from like retroactively rather than in the moment where the frenzy around it doesn't affect anyone's judgment. And I think
En la cosa, yes.
From a baseline, we're able to look at it, on still waters, so to speak.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, I want to look at my notes. Okay, so what I really want to talk about, and that I don't want to forget, it's so funny that this is what ended up being. If you would have told me when I first started watching the show that this is who I would want to talk about when I did this, I would have laughed. In your face, The Deep. I can't believe that The Deep is the one that I want to talk about. Because I loved how gross they made him. Like, I was just preparing a slideshow for my class that I'm teaching tomorrow about characterization in fiction, right? And how it's important to make characters unlikable, right? But what they did with The Deep was next level shit, dude. But what they're doing with him in season 2, oh my gosh, the way that I couldn't have expected it. And so to me, it's one of the most original things that they've done. That deep story arc and it's still developing, right? You were just talking about that, the drink, that's the Chekhov gun, right? Mm-hmm. And he's involved in that. So they just have all these really interesting things happening with him, in addition to the fact that he gets some of the best comedic moments in the show. Yes. He is hilarious, and I think you know what I'm about to play because go ahead. You wanna play us into it while I share the screen?
Yeah, one of our favorite voice actors, Patton Oswalt, has one of his probably more unique voice acting roles of his career when because they make The Deep take acid probably, and as his like rehabilitation or whatever, and and he gets so high that he starts talking to his gills, which he's like deeply ashamed of, as being like really insecure, and that's like the whole thing about him.
Exactly, right? Like, that's his issue, is this shame that he feels around his body, and he's like, oh, I degrade women's bodies because I hate my body, and so oh my God. And so, right, he's dealing with these issues, and he takes whatever must be LSD, some kind of hallucinogenic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, really funny scene, obviously. And what I like about his journey is that it's clear that he's made some progress, but later on when he like sees Starlight again, he is still kind of weird about it, and you can tell that he's not all the way there.
Well, because so here's the thing with him. So, I mean, yes, he's made progress, if only because this church is seemingly has a healthier way, I guess. But ultimately, he doesn't really progress because he goes from investing himself and his sense of self-worth in the Seven and in Vought and all that, to doing that same exact thing with the church, which is also taking advantage of him and also using him.
Yeah.
So there really isn't any progress beyond him believing that there's progress, but it's actually bullshit. It's the same thing. He's repeating the same pattern.
It's like he offloads his responsibility to be good onto whatever institution or
he just needs someone to tell him what to do. He refuses to take responsibility. He refuses to make decisions. He's like, tell me what to fucking do.
When I think he's at like the birthday party of the L. Ron Hubbard figure, he tells him about the Eagle Archer, Archer the Eagle, or I might have got that backwards. Anyway, he tells him, like, oh, did you hear about him? He's like, oh yeah, he's my pal. I love that guy. He's like, no, he sucks. You guys have to hate him. He's not allowed back in the church anymore. And the Deep like turns around on him like that, just like, oh yeah, no, I knew there was something wrong about him.
Oh, he's like, oh yeah, no, now that you mention it, I always kind of thought that there was something. Yeah, like, dude, like,
completely just
complete sheep. He's a sheep. Like, he has no idea what the fuck to do. Yeah, no, so his character does have really interesting deep shit going on, but he's also fantastic fucking comic relief. And I wanted to talk about this little Easter egg that I found, but not really an Easter egg. It is only for like me, and I haven't told you what it is, just so I can tell you now.
No, you've been talking it up for a couple of days, and I still don't.
Which sucks. I shouldn't have done that, because you weren't gonna care to begin with, and now you're gonna care even less because you're gonna be expecting something awesome, and it's not that awesome. Okay, basically,
I have a couple of Easter eggs I can counter with just in case, but let's hear yours.
But yours are gonna be like really interesting and actual Easter eggs. Mine's like something stupid. Let's see. Are you ready? Okay. Okay. Essentially, and I need to see what it's episode 5, I think, in season 2. Okay. And basically, they're like underground, and Huey's gonna come talk to and he's watching something. And what he's watching is Outlander. And do you know Outlander, the show?
Okay. Oh, yeah. I haven't seen it, but
it's kind of credited as being a female-oriented show. Okay. And but it's really dope. It's really dope and Scottish and period piece, and it's cool. Whatever. I'm a fan. I'm a fan, though. I liked kind of like half of season 1, and then I started falling off, and then season 2 completely lost me. But anyway,
Jason Momoa was in that, right?
Do what?
Bit? Was Jason Momoa in that?
No, I haven't seen him.
I must be thinking of a different show that's about like, because it's about like
exploring. Are you talking about the Vikings or not Vikings? I know what you're talking about, but it's a different show.
He plays like some like frontiersman or something.
Yeah, no, it's something else. But anyway, in episode 5, Huey walks up to talk to and he's watching Outlander. And Claire, who's the protagonist, is saying, take me back to wherever. And as I'm watching, I'm like, oh my God, it's Outlander. And I'm like, oh yay, I love this show. And it's hilarious because it's a really kind of girly show. And the thing with is he has these these awesome, weird, interesting tendencies, right? And this is one of them. And it turns out, so I looked it up and I was like, there must be a reason they used Outlander in this. So I looked it up, and apparently some of the writers there are like writers for The Boys are fans of the show Outlander. Actually, I'll share my screen because I have the link.
That's a sweet background.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Apparently, The Boys has a few Outlander fans in its writing department. Rebecca Sunshine, co-writer and co-executive producer of the Amazon series, took to Twitter to share her love for the Star show just as the episode aired. Mother's Milk and I both love Outlander. She tweeted, right? And it's really cute. You see a back and forth between like the shows, the people from Outlander and The Boys. And so there's like a mutual kind of respect and clearly fans for each show and in each writing staff. And so I was really excited about it because The Boys is kind of the opposite of Outlander. Like, well, I mean, not necessarily, but it's just so kind of como que, qué sé yo, novelita for women, and then to see it in The Boys, it was great. It was
and it makes sense for as a character, Le Pega, porque,
it does. Just like
he's kind of like a soft-hearted kind of guy.
And Frenchie when he goes on his tirade about the Golden Girls, that was such a dope scene.
One of my favorite Frenchie moments is probably like the second or third interaction they have after they're reunited with Butcher is he describes like MM's like OCD type stuff by describing the way he eats ice cream, where he like takes a scoop and then he uses, and I love this phrase, by trying to even it out, he always creates a corresponding divot in the ice cream, so he feels the need to even it out. And because of that, he ends up eating the entire pint. So
but okay, these details, right? This is characterization at its best. This is characterization at its fucking best, dude. And that The Boys does that. The amount of detail and the amount of emotions that they're able to bring into something that is seemingly horrific and kind of grotesque is honestly really fucking surprising. What they're able to do, the commentary they bring in, and they do talk about a lot of other like TV shows, a lot. Yeah. They do the thing with Outlander. They mentioned Golden Girls. There was something else. I think they mentioned
Harry Potter at one point.
Yeah, I wrote a couple. Oh, Hamilton. They have a discussion about Hamilton where they're criticizing. One guy's like, oh, no, it's a commentary on the immigrant experience. The other person's like, he was white, dude. And I was like.
And the guy defending, trying to say like, oh, that's the point.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's so many moments where they plug in these criticisms of like normie, like performative, like liberal culture, where it's like, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying, but that's not enough. That doesn't,
that doesn't justify. That's not.
That doesn't improve anyone's material conditions in any way. You're just making a show, and I love that they tie it in, and it's not,
it's
they're
not.
They're not doing it to balance the scales, because they're still taking shots at like MAGA stuff.
And it's when they do it, it's minimal. The Hamilton discussion happens in less than 10 seconds, dude. Just like the conversation about Golden Girls takes all of maybe a minute, if that. It's very small amounts where you're getting this commentary. So it's not like it's in your face and you're like, okay, and you're rolling your eyes. Like, not at all. It comes like you could stand up to grab a beer and you would miss that entire thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So they do it in such a way that it's not pulling you out from the main story. It's not pulling you out from the vibe of the show at all. It's just kind of there. And if you just so happen to be aware, you're like, oh shit, they're fucking, oh shit. And then it continues and you're like, yes. Yeah.
And yes. Some of it, it's like I don't know. And some of the critiques are on like frequencies. Like you're not going to hear it. You're not going to get it unless you're clued in a certain amount. Like there was one moment, it's in my notes, and it's about the Deep. He's doing that staged moment where you can see they pan out later and you can see they got cameras centered around like a 40 by 40 portion of beach where they just keep throwing bags on the floor so they can record them picking them up. And they're interviewing him, and he talks about this other superhero that only appears in the comics. He's called Tech Knight, and he's got like this big kind of like jetpack mini jet fighter thing that he flies around in. And he talks about how he convinced them to make it like run on like renewable energy. And it's just perfect. So it's like, oh yeah, keep this like, death machine that you use to kill thousands of people, but make it run on, like canola oil or whatever.
Of course, perfect.
Yeah, and it's like that kind of like Elizabeth Warren brand of liberalism. It's like, yeah, let's make our aircraft carriers run on, natural hydrogen or whatever instead of petroleum. That's like, and it could take you like I didn't catch on to that the first time I heard it. But then
I didn't until you told me right now. Yeah. Like I'm like la 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 la. Like I totally.
Yeah, that's just like the tiny little things, and there's probably more of them that we're gonna have to, that we could only pick up.
Rewatch. That's the kind of show that you can, just like Breaking Bad, that you rewatch over and over and over, and you keep picking up on new fucking details and new subtleties. That's the beauty of these shows, the amount of attention they pay to detail, the amount of things they bother to insert. And they're honestly doing it because they're hoping the demographic that they're hoping for is clearly intelligent people, like people who want to think. People who don't like to think are not gonna like The Boys, like, unless they really just like violence, which they can kind of bypass everything else and maybe enjoy.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of people that tuned in just for that. It's like, oh, more superhero stuff. Oh, and it's even raunchier than the rest because they show like
gore, yay!
Like the promos for the very first season showed the part where what's her name, Claw, the lady with the claws.
Uh-oh, your audio. Ladies and gentlemen, please excuse us while Joey fixes his audio and we figure out the claw. I mean, it's probably someone I don't remember from season 1. He's working on it.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, he's back. He's back. Continue. Claw person who I don't remember from season 1. Please enlighten us.
Yeah, she was like A-Team's like secret girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. The one that he kind of killed because,
she was sitting on his face and came so hard that his head exploded. Yeah,
that was pretty great.
That was a good bit, but that was in like the promos. So that's what drew a lot of people in. That's what they've come to expect.
So there's like, it's funny. So when you say this, it's like The Boys. The Boys is kind of like a Shakespeare play, dude, in that there's these two different registers, very like two clear different registers. If you're just here for the thrills and the fucking gore and shit, you got it, right? And that's base 1 for Shakespeare, right? Base 1, los plebeyos, right? That's for them, for the common folk, right? But Shakespeare also wrote in shit for royalty, to please royalty. The shit that you only know if you're fucking smart, right? And they do that in The Boys. They give you base entertainment, but they have that deeper shit for people that want the deeper shit, dude. What does that make a show that attracts everyone?
It's like if there was like a contemporary rendition of like King Lear, where it's basically like, I don't know, like the Kardashians or something, but they're just talking shit about Trump the whole time.
Yes, perfect.